Today we have a super special guest. I am so excited to have her on today's episode. She is the definition of a friend, someone that motivates you, encourages you.
I love you so much.
I am so excited to have my biffy, my best friend, Miss T in the room.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here. I feel like it's been a long time coming. I'm just so proud of you because, you finally got your podcast going. I know we've been talking about it for a minute. Estás tardando. But no, yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and share whatever I can to help give inspo or insight to anybody that I can. And
yay. Yeah. Are you nervy?
A little bit. I haven't really ever done something like this, so we'll see. I feel like I'm not trying to be in a camera, really, but I feel like it's always, like, chill, like, I'm out on a run, or, like, let's go here with me.
Yeah.
It's never, like
okay, you record your, like, lifestyle.
Yeah, or just, or, like, if I don't like what I'm like, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to post that.
Yeah.
But we're being real here.
We're real and raw. But I'm so excited to have you. Thank you so much for being on today's episode.
My horse.
But before we hop into the episode, let's talk a little bit about our friendship. I think like a lot of girlfriends can definitely relate to our type of friendship dynamic that we have. And I kind of wanted just to like touch on that a little bit. Cause okay, before I talk about like how I see our friendship, like how would you describe our friendship?
I feel like we are low maintenance, love, like empowering. And I think like you're just always there. Like I know like if I ever need something, like you're always a call away, and like same for me. And we can go for a minute without talking, but we'll fill each other in, and it's like we've been seeing each other and talking every day.
Yeah.
Like it's,
I feel like I literally feel just exactly like that. I feel like we're super low maintenance friends.
Yeah.
So for me, low maintenance is like we don't talk like every single day.
Yeah.
We can go like probably months without talking to each other.
TikTok.
Yeah, but like when we do talk to each other, it's like we never stopped. Like somehow, like we're just like
it's been 4 hours, mister.
Yeah. And like I just feel like any gap that we have, we can always catch each other up, and it's just like, oh yeah, like I get it,
Yeah.
And like T is definitely that type of friend that it's like I don't have to text her every single day and keep her updated of my life. Like she has her life, I have my life, but but
we know we love each other.
Like we're just like so connected somehow that like no importa how long like the weeks go or whatever, like we end up always catching each other up, and we're just like,
yeah,
I get you.
Yeah, and then our convos will be like so long because I feel like we'll be like, and then I went through this happened. You're like, but now I'm back, and now you're like, that's fixed. Next problem that happened 2 months later, like
you're like, so that was last week. Let me catch you up on this week.
Yeah,
I love that though. I do.
Yeah, I really thank God for our friendship, and since it's been for a while, we really saw each other grow up. So.
We really did.
Yeah.
So we've been friends since, oh my gosh.
A long time.
Thank
God for that.
Yes, a long time. I think I want to say, I feel like we started getting really close in our high school time.
Yeah, for sure.
Like when we just
we
like
knew of
became,
each other like the chiquitas. But,
yeah. Like we went to the same school and like we were in the same little groupie and everything. But like I think it was like until high school when we started to like really want to get like involved in like school and everything. Yeah. Well, not really, but and like I'm gonna just talk good about you right now, but T was like always the type that like always wanted to like do better for herself, and like that would really inspire me, and like I'm like, oh my god, like that's so awesome, that would be really fun. So it would get me out of my comfort zone to like go and like try those things with you.
You know what I was thinking about? The play we did.
Oh my gosh. I talked about that on my last episode, that I was like, oh my gosh, like I did a play and I had my 2 girlfriends, you and Tori, my senior year that you guys joined.
Para lo que sea.
That was good though.
Yeah, that was fun.
Who knew that we were actors?
No, you have You know, you got a little talent there for sure.
I was the main role, you guys.
Yeah, she was the lead role. She was the it girl.
Yeah, I was
the drama crew.
Oh my god, that was good. That was a fun time though. Oh, I love that.
Pero les recomiendo una amistad bonita y sincera. I feel like I love your family, and like I know you love mine. Like when I see you, I feel like I care about how your nephews are doing, your sis, your cuñis, you know, your little brother, because like I also watched them grow up, and like I feel like, and I'm like, and your mom, how's your mom? She's in Mex, you know, all these things. Like it's like a lot more than just me and you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so
like it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
It doesn't just affect us, it affects everyone around us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So you are currently you are a nurse.
Yes.
That's the field that you're in.
Right.
You're currently working
as
a RN right now.
Yes.
How's that been going for you?
Girl, I celebrated my 4 years as a nurse last month, and I was like in awe. Like I was just like, I can't believe it's been 4 years. But there's been a lot of growth, like a lot of beautiful moments, and yeah.
So are you like working in the hospital right now, or what is like your main focus?
Currently, my role, I have worked at a hospital. Currently, my role, guys, I love my job. It's actually a fully remote job. Like my title is like I'm a clinical task triage nurse. So I'm on my computer on the phone with patients most of the day, like following up with patients, follow-up calls, prenatal visits with like moms to be. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like my role that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like been like a really nice transition, like a break from the craziness of the hospital.
Yeah, because that's what when you graduated college, when you graduated college, you went straight into like working for a hospital.
No, I didn't. I was a 2020 nurse, y'all. COVID.
Jeez.
So I had like a lot of like bumps and stuff that happened, and I have quite a bit. I have had a couple jobs, which I also talk on because
Talk on it. We want to hear about it.
So I went to UNC and I got my bachelor's of science in nursing. There's a lot of like different like access like of how you can get your degree in nursing. Like a lot of people do 2 years in a community college and then apply to like a 4-year school and then get into their nursing program. And then other programs will be more like you can do like an ASN, which like also you can do that straight out of a community college. So there's like a lot of different ways, but I definitely went the traditional route. Like I went to college right after high school. And so then once I finished my degree, it took me like 4.5 years. And then I graduated in like the fall of 2019. I needed a break because that was rough. And then I did corrections for a year. I did hospital for 2 years, and then I transitioned to this job.
Yeah,
which is like remote for now a year in April.
Yeah, dang, a year already.
Yeah,
that went by fast.
So fast. I was just like, oh, when I said that,
you're like, oh,
a year, like it's April.
Been a year now. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at now.
Yeah. So just going back a little bit about you went to UNC. Mm-hmm. What made you choose that college to attend?
Yeah, so actually like my college hunt was like a little bit it was like really exciting times because I was gonna like be the first in my fam to go. We were getting everything ready, and I toured a bunch of different schools. Me and my parents we went for like a weekend and we toured like 7 schools.
That's exhausting.
Yes,
that's overwhelming.
We were like Regis, CU Denver, UCCS, UNC. Like we were like back to back to back to back. Like,
oh my gosh.
But I, like we went specifically for that.
Yeah.
And I loved the vibes in UNC. Like I feel like UCCS was like it's in Colorado Springs. I literally know not a soul in Colorado Springs. Mm-hmm. I was like in UNC. I know a few people going to CSU, which is like 40 minutes away. Like it's Denver. Like my parents come to Denver often. So like it just like everything was like clicking into place. I always like make a joke because when we were in Regis, it's like a Catholic-based school, but they have like this beautiful chapel like on campus.
Yeah.
And when we went, like obviously in the tour they show us, and then my mom's like, aquí, hija. Like aquí está bien bonito, porque estaba like the chapel and whatever, and like the kids go to mass. I was like, Mom, we're not even Catholic. But
she's like, aquí vas a sentir la presencia de Dios.
But yeah, I mean, it just was beautiful, but like obviously financially so expensive. It's
Yeah.
like a private school, which is like another thing that's like money is like
Right.
an ish. So UNC was like affordable. It was like the perfect, I feel like my dream school where I really wanted to go was like either CSU or CU, but they didn't have nursing programs, which is kind of crazy because they're pretty big schools.
Yeah.
And to be honest, thank God I didn't, but I almost even switched my major just to go to those schools. But that just kind of shows you like sometimes where your focus is, because I was like, who's going to UNC? Who's going to Greeley? Like,
Yeah.
And like for a long time, like I kind of didn't really like the idea of being in Greeley. But when I was on campus, like I loved the campus. Like the vibes were really beautiful, and the campus is beautiful in itself. Getting to Greeley was like, my mom was like, and then my dad was like, a puro rancho y por acá, because going up it's like,
It smells like cow.
yeah, and it smells like cow. And so like but once I got there, girl, like I found my community, I found my people. Like I feel like it, like I was like, this is where I was meant to be, and I couldn't really see myself being having gone anywhere else now.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, Greeley's vibey. Like I feel like people like all you think about is like rancho and like cow smell, but like that's the kind of place where like MC Magic goes. Because it's hood. Like I bailes every time. Like, it's like the perfect distance to Denver, like the perfect distance to like Fort Collins if you want to like go up for a rowdy weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you have a little bit of like everything.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that you were gonna change your major to go to these
colleges. Yeah, I was like, maybe human services is the move. Like I was like, because I want to be in CSU.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think it was just because like that's where everybody was going, and like that's like where the hype was.
Yep.
And so I was like, but now I'm really thankful. Like I know a lot of people that like always like did like went to a school where they didn't have what they wanted to study, and then they just end up transferring, and like that just leads to a bunch of other things in itself.
Yeah. Did you like your college experience in UNC overall?
Overall, yes. I'm very thankful for the experience. I was like, I think it's like for sure something that's like a core memory in my life, those 4 years. Sometimes I think back and I'm like, what happened? But it's beautiful. It's like it has ups and downs, It's like like a really beautiful experience. Like there's beautiful days, like a perfect college day. You get up, you go to your lecture hall. You're like that mysterious girl, the mysterious Latina girl in the corner, and like whatever. So like doing your homework,
main character vibes,
and then like you go and then like, now it's lunch. You hit up the girlies, like meet at the dining hall, like you go get lunch. After that, like you go to work. And I love my job in college. Like I gave tours of campus. I drove like a little golf bus thingy, girl. I can barely drive I can't drive. Like one thing about me, like I drive and I haven't like gone, thank God, in a bad accident.
Who gave this girl a job there?
No, it's really, and I admit it. Like I know I'm not a good driver, but like I was like manejando the little bus, giving tours. Like on the left, you'll see this building. That's where like the library, and like it was like fun. Like we did events, and then like after that, like you go to the library. You go do like 30 minutes of Stairmaster. I guess what's going on in the gym. What are the vibes? Yeah. And then you go to library, study, and then you go to bed. And like, like that's like a beautiful day. And like there was definitely many like that, but there was also many days where I was in the trenches. Like I was studying till 4 a.m. Woke up at 8 for my test. Bombed it, depressed. I'm like, I'm gonna fail. Like this isn't for me. So like I'm like eating ramen, like I'm not taking care of myself. Like, so there's like waves, I think, in college of like what you go through. Yeah, for sure.
What do you think was one of like your hardest experiences? Because you did have this college experience. Yeah. And I've talked about on my episodes how I never had that college experience where like I was on campus and I got to meet like all these amazing people. Like you, went and like you, volunteer or not volunteer. Yeah, well, you did a lot of volunteering and everything, but you were also like part of a sorority. You met a lot of friends through there and everything. But what do you feel like was like one of the toughest experiences in your college times?
I think for me, I just think like now looking back at it, I'm like, it was never that serious. But it's just like a little bit, it can be a little bit dramatic, like, and get lonely too, because my parents were only 4 hours away, but like, girl, you know what feeling lonely feels like? When you are like sick and vulnerable, like you have the flu, you're vomiting, and like no one is taking care of you. Like you are literally alone. Like your mom can't come. And like a lot of my friends were like in Denver, so if they were sick, they were like having to go home. Or sometimes I felt like lonely. I think especially like my first 2 years, like I really didn't know a soul in UNC other than Eddie, you know, and Eddie andaba también like in his thing. And so I was like just learning new people, and it's also like a little scary because you're like, I'm meeting a lot of people, like this is great, but it's also like, okay, but which friends are like the good ones, you know, which ones like are like the ones that are going to be here like if I'm down bad, like, you know, because like you're all just meeting each other. So I was blessed with really amazing people that I met in college. And you know, and it's kind of funny because like a lot of the people, like a lot of my friends, like we also like we were like goody two shoes in high school. Like I had never really drank. I think the first time I ever tried alcohol was like senior ditch day. In high school. And then like I got to college and like a lot of us were like, oh, like no, this is my first time. Like I've never even seen weed, bro. Like you know, so like a lot of like people like that are like in college too. So but yeah, I think just sometimes like feeling like a little bit lonely and like lost, and I had nobody to reach out for, like applying for nursing school, like no one had done it. I didn't have a friend that had done it. Like it was all me and like what I was learning along the way, and like, you know, finding a job, like no one was telling me where to apply to jobs, all these things. Like it was like me figuring it out. And then also just like during like that was like the year where like Trump had been like elected. Like I was talking, like I didn't know if I was gonna keep it. I didn't know if I was gonna be able to work as a nurse when I graduated, and I was kind of like, what am I doing? So I think that was like a mix of all those things.
That was felt really stressed.
I know not 2020 when Trump was 2016. Sorry,
was it?
I'm like, wait a minute, that ain't math. The math ain't mathing.
Close enough.
Biden and Trump, same thing at this point.
We won't go into all that. But so you were saying that you were the first one from your family, so you are first gen. You are the oldest of your siblings, and you know, your parents have always been there backing you up and everything. But what do you feel was like the hardest thing? I mean, obviously being first gen, there's a lot of pressure and everything. But choosing this field and being first gen, what was like the most stressful part about it?
I think like, to be honest, I was so young, like you pick your careers or what you're going to study like at 17, 18, like that's wild to me.
It
like
is.
Now thinking back at it, I'm like, I can't believe we make those decisions at such a young age. I honestly don't really think I fully knew what I was getting into. And I think like now I'm kind of like, okay, like I think back then, like my heart, I've always wanted to be a teacher. Like in elementary, I was like, I'd love to have a class, you know? You know, but then I was like, but I don't know, like it's rough to be a teacher nowadays. And I was like, I think maybe like social work, like I always knew like I had like a passion for like that kind of side of things. And so I think like nursing really encompasses a lot of things. Like there's so much to be taught to patients about their health in nursing. You do social work all the time. Therapy, we're giving therapy to our patients all the time.
Basically,
like like you're just a little bit of everything. So I think like it was honestly just a blessing that I was able to pick a career that has been fruitful and like helpful now that I have been able to like work in my degree. You know, some people, it's hard out there, like unfortunately, to find jobs, you know, and jobs that can like actually pay your bills.
Right.
So.
Dude, that is crazy. Like thinking about it, like, oh my gosh, we choose a career like once we're right out of high school and like we just have to make it, you know? But then I think about it and I'm like, I think that's why so many people end up switching their career when they're in college or like they're just hopping around because they're like, I don't like this, I don't like that, and they're testing the waters. But what made you want to go for nursing?
Yeah, I feel like kind of just like I said, like I had a little, like nursing just encompassed a lot of different things, and I started to like really do research or talk to some mentors that I got in high school about kind of what I wanted to do, and they told me, no, like it's great, like job security, and like I was like, you don't gotta tell me twice because I gotta get a job. Like that's kind of was like my end goal. Like I was like, I need to find a job like right away, or like, you know, and then there was also like a lot of ways to grow, which like If anybody ever has questions, like, you can always feel free to message me and ask. But there's so many ways to really go back, get your master's, you know, get your doctorate in nursing. And I'm not gonna do it, but like, if you want to, there's ways.
The resource. Okay, there. Yeah.
So I was always like, okay, I think like this is like the jackpot. Like, I feel like, and it kind of felt like that at the time, you know. Now thinking about it, like, I'm thankful with my career, you know, and I'm like, it's great. People think like nurses are rich. Where are they at? Because I don't know. I'm not. Or that we make a lot of money. I don't know. I mean, like,
where do you think that misconception comes from?
I don't know, because sometimes like some people will be like, you know, I have nurses coworkers that are fighting for their lives financially, and it's really sad. And I mean, like, the nurses, sometimes there are ways to make money, you know, like you can travel nurse, you know, like when the pandemic came, like the nursing career boomed because like so many people were flexing their paychecks and like showing how much they were making traveling. And I was like, yeah, but you don't understand, like they were also like in super stressful situations, like unsafe patient ratios, like, you know, and you can collect your bag and your coin, but it also takes sacrificing, like leaving your home, leaving the comfort of your family. Like, like you really have to have it set up perfect, right, to be able to, like, you know,
like, you have to be single pretty much, not worry about anybody else.
Like no kids, nothing. Like sometimes you have to work night shifts, you work holidays, like, you know. Like, so there are ways, but there's also like a lot of sacrificing that goes into it. Like, I'm like, okay, this paycheck was good, but I earned every minute of my paycheck when I was in the hospital, girl. Like, you know, like every dollar that I'm like, okay, I earned this with blood, sweat, and tears. Yes. Like, it wasn't like I got tipped. You're like 30% on my table, you know, like. Yeah. So it's like a big shift for sure.
Oh my gosh. I remember that you would like tell me there was like a point in your journey that you were like, you had like those graveyard shifts, like where you were like only at night and everything. And then you were trying to figure out a routine for yourself of like, okay, like I don't want to just like this cuidar. I was like, are you okay? You're like, no quiero descuidar like my morning. Like, I want to take advantage of it, but I also like, I want to sleep and everything. Girl, I feel for that. Oh my gosh. After a night shift
is very real. Like, you literally, I was like, I just worked 3 in a row, but I feel like I had a 3-day drinking bender. Like, you would feel dolor de cabeza, like dehydrated, like you're just so tired. All you want to do is sleep. Yeah. So the nurse hangover.
It's real. It's real. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, collect your bag, and then like for your eye bags to fix your eye bags, girl, because it's gonna be rough. Yeah. Night shift is hard. It takes a lot of like discipline. It's like, and if you have other things and other hobbies, which I did that I liked to do, and like I don't like to sleep in a lot. Like I like to enjoy like the sunlight and be out. So it's hard. Like you know, if you're a night owl and like you know you don't mind being up late at night.
How long did you do that for?
Like a year. And a little bit more than a year,
Was that one of the reasons why you decided that being in the hospital, like you wanted to take a break from it?
So the reason I left the hospital was because I low-key have like a contentment issue, which God is healing me from. So I'm very much like, okay, I've been there, done that. Next. You know? Yeah. Not this job though, like I'm trying to keep this job for a minute, okay? Like I told myself 2 years minimum. Like
wait, talk a little bit about that. Like what do you mean by like
a contentment? Yeah. I think I'm very, and this is something that I've like in the last year I've been transitioning and doing a lot of internal work on this, because I've noticed that sometimes like there's something that I want so bad and then I get it and I'm like, okay, like now I want something else, like now I want this, you know, and I'm like, why can't I just like sit in like happiness with what I have? And I feel like social media probably has a big part of this. Like I literally like Ed would be like, chill, because I'd be like, oh my god, I have to get up, like I just saw TikTok and this girl did 1,000 things and like I'm here rotting away, like I gotta do something with my life, like you know, like those motivational like get up. And I think like that's something that I've been working on. I'm like, okay, I can relax, like I just gotta like be thankful for what I have now, you know, like I can't always be thinking about my next job and where I want to go next, like you know, like I gotta enjoy the house I have right now, like enjoy the car I have now, even if it's not my dream car, even if it's not my dream house, it's not the dream place I want to live, like, and I feel like that's something that's really hard for me.
I feel that, and I've also talked about this too, that like I think it's just like I don't know. I don't want to say like it's actually not a good habit to have at all. That like there's a point that like you strive to always want to be better, but you're never content with what you have in the present, and you're never being thankful and grateful of what you have in the present. And I think that comes a lot too from being like first gen, and that pressure of like you always just have to continue to do better for your future, and we're always looking at the next step. And so I totally can relate to that's hard though. Like it's really hard of just being like, okay, like let me just chill here for a little bit. But in the back of your head, you're like, ooh, but I can do this to be better and stuff. So that's
especially
actually
like in nursing, there's a lot of comparison because there's so many fields. And they're like, you know, people be like, well, aren't you like in aesthetics? Like they're making bank. And I'm like, I don't want to, I'm going to botch people. Like, I don't want to do aesthetic. And I'm like, well, God, maybe that's my calling. Like, you know, I'm like, what is it? You know, and they're like, so I think like there's a lot of like also in nursing, like in itself in that career, whether it's like, oh, like you just work in like a medicine unit, like, oh no, I got straight into the ICU, like critical care, like, and there can be a lot of toxic environments within like nursing in itself, and just people comparing what they've accomplished. And that's just something that like thankfully like God's working a lot with that issue of like comparison and like not feeling content, or you know, like yeah, maybe like I'm not making like bank like other people, but like I feel like in every position that I've ever been, like I've been with people in like really vulnerable situations where like I've just been somebody to give them hope, somebody to give them love, somebody to give them like true, because there's good people and bad people. There's nurses that like you can tell like they're probably burnt out, or they just don't like patients anymore. And I get so sad because I'm like, these patients are so vulnerable, they deserve our best, but sometimes like it's hard for us mentally because the hospitals don't care about us. And like that's facts, like the CEOs, like all of it, it's a huge business. I think I was super heartbroken when I realized how the healthcare industry in the United States works. There's no easy solution, and there's somebody just trying to make money out of people's illnesses, and like that breaks my heart. Yeah. And it's like, I'm like, what can I do? Like, you know, it's like hard.
Yeah. Wait, so did you ever concentrate in anything specific in nursing, or did you just go into...
So I did like a medicine unit. That's kind of where I was like for the first 2 like years of my nursing career. And it's like vague. So it's like patients going into surgery, patients that just got out of surgery, patients with like chronic failure, like a lot of chronic issues. Yeah. Like 18 to like oldies. So it's kind of like vague, but it wasn't like peds. Peds is very specific, like labor and delivery. It's otra cosa. Like people be thinking like, because you're a nurse, like they asking me like things about like when they're gonna give birth, and I'm like, grr, I don't know. I've never been a labor and delivery nurse. Like I can tell you the basics, you know, but like
you're like don't be asking me those questions.
But I'm like, I don't know about labor and delivery, or like peds, you know, I'll have like basic things, but they're like, what's this rash? And I'm like, that can be so many things. Girl, I bet the doctors don't even know what that rash is. Like,
so like because you're like, oh yeah, I'm a nurse, and then everyone thinks that you know like the whole.
Yeah, this is like for all nurses in general. Everybody wants to become a nurse, I think you know like head to toe about from geriatrics to newborns, and I'm like, no, like you have like specifics. Yeah, but yeah, I mean it's just they don't know, but that's okay. I don't mind telling them. I'm like sometimes I'm like, I don't know. I really don't work with like now. I know a lot more about kids because I've worked like with my new job. Like I'm exposed to like peds health a lot more. So yeah, me siento más. Yeah.
Did you ever want to like go back to school to concentrate in anything specific?
No. No. I think school, I'm done with school, to be honest. As of now, I don't really think, I think college was hard, and like I lived it, I had it. I don't really see, I feel like nursing for me is, like I said, like job securement, like helping me kind of build a foundation for the rest of my life. But I feel like long term, I don't think I can be a nurse forever. So I feel like my dream is just to have like a little business, tranqui, you know, something stress-free. Because it doesn't matter what area of nursing you do, it is stressful in its own
like
ways. I've done different types, and yeah, there's always some, like there's just a high stress field. Yeah.
Well, you look great right now. What is like one thing that you would say to like the nurses out there, like how to balance this lifestyle, like being a nurse and also finding a way to take care of yourself?
Yes. And I think thankfully now, with like, I feel like we've entered like a new like era of self-care, and like all that's really big now. And, like there's like a bunch of programs. I actually did one, sorry, when I was like really like I was really not taking care of my body. Like I felt so sick, like my A1C, well, like my blood sugar was like getting high, and I was like, what the heck, because of like high like stress levels and stuff. So I ended up joining like this program, and I got like a life coach, and she was like a nurse.
I love
Yeah,
that.
she was my coach.
Aw.
Shout out Georgie. And so she kind of like would make meal plans for me,
Oh.
gym routines, check on me, because I was like, someone's got to do it. I check up on everybody. Nobody be checking up on me.
Mm-hmm.
So like Georgie was there for me, like, checking in, like, hey, did you eat good? Because you didn't track your meals or whatever it was. So like I think like using resources like that is also like, you can always be mentored.
Yeah.
And
Was it
helped.
Expensive?
Yes, it was.
It was expensive.
And that's why I don't have a coach.
And that's why Georgie had to go bye.
That's why we said goodbye, Georgie. Yes, it was, but it helped transition my mindset. It showed me what my body is capable of. It showed me like I can do this, like, like, okay, and just kind of build routine, because I struggled with making discipline, and like I'd go in waves. Like I'm like super fit girl, like super like big bad girl, like for a minute, like down bad, like, so I couldn't stay consistent.
Yeah.
And I think Georgia was helping me kind of keep those, but I was being so like not realistic with myself. Like I was like, how do I want to work 3 like 12-hour shifts and like work out every day? Like it's just not possible.
Yeah.
Like, I had to, again, like with comparison and contentment, like I gotta love my body. Like I have to be realistic with what I'm gonna be able to achieve. Like I'm not gonna be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And like no matter how hard I try, like that's probably not gonna be realistic for me. So I was like, pero I do want to have, feels like I don't want to feel like I'm sick all the time. Like I don't want to feel like I have low energy. Those things I can have more control over, and like just making like little adjustments, like realistic adjustments in my life was important. And Georgie came through for that.
Shout out Georgie. Oh my gosh. So what about for the folks that don't have that type of resource, that are able to pay for a life coach like that? Now that you've gone through that process and that journey, what's something that like maybe someone can pick up anytime in their day of like starting this new hobby or starting like this sort of like new lifestyle and everything like that?
Yeah, no, like I feel like for sure, like don't be scared. Like actually, you kind of know about it a little bit. If you follow me on TikTok, I'm a runner now.
She's a runner. She's a track star.
Yes, I needed something. Going to the gym was like, I like going to the gym. I like doing weights and stuff. But it was like the hours sometimes didn't line up. And I'm in Denver, girl. Like there's a lot of gyms and like hours are pretty late. And still, like sometimes in my schedule, it wouldn't work. And so I was like, I need something that's consistent. And I was like, I need something that I know will always be there. I tried home workouts. I was like, it just turns into a stretching session. So I'm like, I would just stick to stretching at home. But like running has really helped with that because it's accessible. Everybody has an outside.
Yep.
And everybody has, if you're body able and healthy, God willing, you do have legs to go out and run. And so I was like, okay, this is something I can do. And whether it's like, okay, maybe it's just going to be a 10-minute run, but it's going to be like the fastest run I can do. Like, so like,
yeah.
Or just different things like that. Like, I think health wise, but, sometimes you don't need like a life coach or like a big thing. Like maybe even telling like a friend to hold you accountable. Like, dude, like I'm really going through it. Like sometimes like we don't want to bother people or we don't want to like burden people. At least that's how I used to be a lot. Like I was like, no, like I got to drown in these problems because people have enough.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like that, you
Yeah.
know? Like I could be like, I be going through it. Like tell me, like text me if I like to make sure that I like ate 3 times today or like that I drank water, like things like that. Like that's what friends are for. Truly, like friends are more than just, yeah, sure, like the brunches, the like fun Sundays are cool and all, traveling, whatever, but like they're also there like to help you be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find yourself those good friends though.
Find them.
Love that, T. Thanks for opening up about that journey. Yeah. I'm sure it has not been easy, and I'm so proud of you, honestly.
And also, I just want to really quickly, nursing is beautiful. Like if you like, I don't want to like make it seem like it's tough. It is tough, but you have to go in for the right reasons, and it's to help people in vulnerable moments, to really be willing to be an advocate for them, right? Because a lot of our patients have no idea what they're going through. And if you're not advocating, telling the doctors and like, you know, the providers what's going on for them, the providers have hundreds of other patients. You usually that day will have anywhere from 1, depending what unit you work to like 5. And it's like our jobs to really care for them. And there's so much you can do with it. It'll open so many doors of opportunities, which is like really beautiful. And so, yeah, like if you're going for it, like that's amazing. Just make sure you go with into it knowing what, like with a good purpose, you know. It could be collecting your coin could be one of the reasons, but it shouldn't be your only reason. And I think that's something that's like, because you're going to be disappointed in it.
Right, yeah.
And it's just you're setting yourself up for like a not happy career.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so real, though. I mean, and some people need to hear it that way, because you didn't have someone to tell you those type of things, you know?
Had I known, I would have been a business girl.
I would have my whole business right now.
I'd be in engineering. I'd be in software engineering. No, yeah.
That's a lot, but...
My head is like, if you want coin, engineering, business, whatever, if you truly care about people, if you want to make a difference in people's health and people's lives, for sure, you can definitely do that.
Yeah.
More than do that in nursing.
Yeah.
I have patients that I still like, they're my homies.
Yeah.
And we chit-chatting.
Oh, I bet you just meet so many, like, amazing people, too, that, like, change your perspective in life completely.
Oh, yeah. Siento que it's like, I think there's something, and I'll tell people stories like, I'm just sad, like my patient's going through this and that. But there's just something about being with those people in those times. Like there's something I can tell you all about, like, no girl, like my patient, he died and his family was there and he was so young and his little girls were there, and you can hear it and like, you're like, oh, that's so sad, you know. But there's something about being there, you know,
Witnessing it all.
Yeah, seeing it happen, seeing the people mourn. And it's hard mentally, emotionally. And I think one of the things I'm like super grateful for is my husband, and like just that he studied the same thing I did, because we really get each other. And I think when you're in a field like that, you need somebody you can vent to that will understand you, and that's in that field, you know, because like we have each other to vent. And sometimes like our friends are awesome and we can tell them, but like I think a hard day for work for like a nurse is like they put a dead body in a bag. Like a young girl got diagnosed with some terminal illness that she can never heal from. Then she's my age, and like, you know, she had goals and aspirations like me, and I'm like, why is life so unfair? Like, what makes it different? Versus like somebody's hard day, like at the bank because you had a rude customer, or at you know, I've had other jobs, like I've been a server, I've been a nanny. Like my bad days as a nanny is he's not an iPad kid and now I gotta play with him.
Yeah,
like now I'm tired.
Yeah,
you know, like just, or like different things, or like in the office, like somebody yelled at you and like somebody was rude.
Yeah,
and you know, and it's like, yeah, like that's rough, like your boss got mad or whatever, but like just the different, you know, putting things into perspective. And so, you know, like our hard days, like we're sobbing with patients. Like I be crying sometimes with my patients, or I'd have to, or like Ed doesn't, but like Ed would tell me like, oh, like I'm just so sad, I'm in the bathroom, like I'm crying because like my patient's wife's like losing it, like, you know, like no sé cómo calmarla or whatever, and like things like that. And I'm like, okay, babe, like I get you, like just to have somebody that gets you to that level and like really feels for you and like understands what you're seeing, what you're going through, because it can be very emotionally draining.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
But I also tell Ed, like, you know, I tell my patients, like, I am praying for your healing in Jesus' name. Like, girl, like, vas a ver que Dios va like curarte, like, ya no vas a tener este problema. And I tell Ed too, like, Ed, like, because Ed's in the ICU, so I'm like, you, babe, like, I was like, you don't understand, like, you are in like a jackpot for God to use you, like, you know, because people like, or it's death or it's heaven after that, like, you know, in my units I'd be like, call a rapid, like my patient's tanking, like take him to the ICU, like he's gonna go up there because like it's like critical care, and after you, babe, like there's no other unit, like, you know, or they live or they die or they go to heaven, like, you know. So I'd be like, babe, when you see like when his patients are usually like sedated or like, you know, or like barely awake, and I'm like, babe, like pray for them, talk to them about God, like tell them, you know, I'm like, no alma can be lost.
Yeah.
But I'm just happy that I have him for that. So if you want to do nursing, like obviously find yourself a community. Coworkers are great. You guys really become family. Like I've had amazing coworkers. So, you know, there's also some toxic ones, but you you
pick
use
and
your
choose.
discernment and
Yes.
you pick and choose.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
How long do you foresee yourself continuing to do this?
Like nursing?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of other things that I want to do in nursing still because I want to like learn a lot about like a lot of different things. But I can definitely see myself always maybe even doing it like as a PRN, like a part-time, like 1 to 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Tranqui, girl.
Yeah.
Not like every day. So I don't know, but like I can't really say. I feel like I have like things I want to do in the future, and like if nursing fits into those goals that I have, it'll be great if I can squeeze it in, but we'll see where God goes. I really can't say.
Yeah.
Where God takes me.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So currently you are living in the city right now, which is like 4 hours from the hometown that you lived in. How has that transition been for you, living away from home? Because you stayed out there after college and you started working out there and everything, and you were like, I'm staying out here. I'm not going back to the valley and stuff. How has that been for you?
Well, right when I graduated college, I came back home because I had like 0 cents to my name, like nothing. I was broke. Ed was too, and so we came back home, and so we were here for like a little bit in a transition period while we passed our boards, figured out where we were gonna work, and then it got like really stressful with like COVID because like we had other plans and they were just not playing out for us. Ultimately, like our decision to move was to really immerse ourselves more in our careers. You know, like the Valley has 2-3 hospitals, like from a huge mile radius, whereas to Denver area, I feel like we could have more opportunities, more places to work. So just more open doors in that sense of what we wanted to explore, because we didn't really, some girls go to nursing school and they're like, I'm going to be a labor and delivery nurse. Like, that is my soul, my passion, like everything. And some people are like, no, I'm doing pediatrics. Like, and I feel like I didn't really have that. I was just kind of like, God, where do you want me to go? Like, you tell me.
Yeah.
So that was the main reason why we moved. And then kind of like transitioning to living there. Like, I feel like I'm kind of in a suburb. So like it feels fine.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm a town girl, but I don't think I'm a city girl. So I'm like, God, then what am I? Like,
who am I right now?
Beach girl, you know? But I think I'm really happy with where I'm at right now. I feel like a lot of growth has happened in the last couple of years for me. And moving was rough. I feel like I think I was more open to it. Like, my husband was kind of like, I don't know, dude, like the wages here are good, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, to be honest, in the Valley, like if you're raised here, like we are blessed. Like this area from like Aspen to Rifle, like it is a blessing. Like a lot of people, I think a lot of the reason people come back is because they're making bank here. There's a lot of ways to make money here if you really want to. And then, you know, like there are jobs, you can't get a job anywhere else just like that. You know, if an opportunity opens up and it's like for a small business or whatever and it's booming, like you have to be here. I think that's another blessing with our jobs. Like we can go anywhere. So like I don't think we have that like something holding us down. No kids, no house, no kids, no nothing really holding us down. So I think that's what's exciting. That's like it feels like everything is open. So
like you guys can just like, all right, we can go
pack
here
your
now.
bags, honey. We're going to Vegas. I was like, not Vegas.
Out of all the places in Vegas, T.
No, I definitely see myself being like a little beach girl.
You have said that.
I feel like I tried be so hard to be a mountain girl, and I was like, hikes. And I'm like, let's go. But I mean, like, okay, like going on a hike or reading a book at the beach.
I mean, yeah.
You tell me, like, you know?
Absolutely. I could get used to that lifestyle for sure.
Catch me at the beach.
Si no la encuentran, you guys know where we can go look for her.
Yeah. Moving is scary, and the transition it's shocking, you know, like the Valley, like we really, sometimes it makes me sad because we don't realize how privileged we really are here with like accessibility for like, you know, really good paying like salaries. Cost of living is like high, you know, and it's getting rough, but it's high everywhere. Like, you know, and so But I also know, like, thankfully, like, I know our families are here, and so, like, I always know, like, this will always be my home.
Right.
And, like, if everything hits the fan, I'm coming back.
Yeah. You have a place to go back to.
Yeah.
So, T, you have been pretty open about your faith. And I know that you've always been a Jesus girl growing up and everything. But I know that, like, you know, we went through our journey of like, oh my God, wildhood. Like, you had mentioned in the beginning how, like, we were the type of people that, like, never really did anything bad in high school or anything. And not until we, like, got into our senior year, that's when we were not that crazy, but we went through our thing.
One day,
senior ditch day. That was bad. But now, like, I feel like we're in this, like, journey in our life. Like, you're married, you have your career, you are kind of just, like, you know, like, in your own thing right now. And I know you've always been, like, a believer in God and everything. But I know that you've also restored your relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
How has that journey been for you?
Liberating.
Period.
I think, liberating. It's been tough, actually, in the sense of looking back, you know, and who people think of when they think of me. And so I've always known of God because, I had, like, I was literally reflecting on my, like,
journey about
my
it.
journey. And I was born into a Catholic family. So I was, like, baptized. Like, I have, like, my padrino, like, my pics and my little fit in the, like, chapel
The
or whatever
huge, like, dress and everything.
Yes, I was Catholic. And then I started, but I never really practiced it. I don't know anything about, like, being a good Catholic. And then my auntie was Christian, and so she would kind of she was Christian Baptist, and so she would go to church, and, like, I would go with her once every couple months. So, like, it was never consistent. It was never like my parents were, like, followers or anything. And then in, like, middle school, girl, like, you know, like, most of my middle school life, I don't even know if you know this, but, like, I would study with, like, a Jehovah's Witness. Like, I would go with them on Sundays and stuff.
I think, I remember you told me.
Yeah, oh yeah. And so, like, and honestly, that only played out because, like, you know, they'd be knocking on your door. And, like, I opened, and, like, I just remember because, like, my mom had no interest, but she was like, por qué or something. I don't know. But basically, they were offering, like, Bible studies for, like, anybody. And my mom was like, oh, I'm too busy. And, like, I was standing there, like, she's not, like basically. So my mom, here. She was like, you can come teach her. Like, they're home a lot. And so, like, my mom, like, kind of opened up the door for this lady to, like, teach me about the Bible. I think mom was like, I mean, that's good. So, like, I was like, I would kind of, like, go with her, like, to Sundays every now and then. So I started, but with her, I think, like, a lot of, like, my knowledge on the Bible started growing. Like, I started learning, like, because I was still little, so she wasn't gonna do anything too intense, but she was like, this is Noah's Ark, and, like, all the actual, like, stories of the Bible, and like things like that you teach little kids. So I think that's kind of where it started. And then in high school, it was kind of fading with her, because I feel like como que my mom, like, was kind of like, maybe this is getting a little too serious, and, like, my auntie was kind of like, well, she should come to church with us, like, and so then started, like, a bash of confusion because of that. And then I feel like, when did I start going to church with you? Like, sophomore year, maybe?
I think so.
And like, you were like a Pentecostal church or whatever. Yeah. So mind you, like, for the last 4 years, I've learned what Jehovah's Witnesses know.
Yeah.
And then my auntie was trying to get me back into the Baptist church. And, like, honestly, I liked going because the vibes were good there. Like, the youth group was lit. Like, it was fun. Like, I was like, I liked that. And, like, then I started going with you, and I was like, oh, pero aquí siento muy bonito. And I think, like, I just entered, like, this mesh of so many different things, and I was so young, and I was so confused.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, what is the truth, God? Like, I'm so confused. Where do I go, like, now, you know? And so I think como que I just got frustrated and overwhelmed, and, like, because my mom didn't really want me to study with Nela anymore, because she was like, oh no, Tania's like she's liking it a lot. And because aprendí mucho, like muchas historias, se me hacía muy bonito. So like, entonces like I was like really confused, and for a long time in high school I was like, God, like where do I, like, what's the right church, like, because like they say it's not good to do that, and they say that what they do is not good, like, and I was like, it was like a clash, and I was so little, so I was like, this too much, like, bye. So like I think like I kind of like, that's kind of what started like drifting me away.
That's real.
Yeah, but all that aside, like, I think, like, I've always known God and stuff, and, like, I always knew, I was, like, really scared of hell, and so I was always, like, kind of, like, that's why I have to, like, seek God, because I'm scared to go to hell, like, honestly. And I think that's just because when you were little and you think, like, of a place that horrible, like, why would anybody want to go there, right? And so I think, like, when I got to college, like, I was, like, I've been, like, in a bubble with my strict mom, like, my whole life. Like, I was very timid, like, up until, like, college. Like, I feel like I would start being more confident in myself. Like, just, like, I didn't like who I was. Like, I was like, no, college is where it's gonna be. That's where I'm gonna be a new person. So I had, like, a lot of, like, identity, like, who am I? What do I want to be? Like, honestly, like, and so to be honest, God was, like, out the window at that point. And I was like, I haven't even seen liquor, like, or I've seen liquor, but nobody's ever even offered me liquor in my life. Like, I kind of was like brawled. So I was like, this is it. And so I was like, I don't care, like, it's confusing anyway, no one agrees, like, no one can just love God. So I think I was just kind of like, whatever, over it. And so I kind of started getting into like my own little bubble and like living my best life, what I thought was my best life, at least. And and I think I just kind of like, God is just not in the picture. And then I think once I was done, going back to like that contentment issue and like that feeling like of a void of like, I'm just, what is my ultimate goal? Like, why do I want to be a nurse? Why do I want to do this? Why am I like pursuing anything and everything? And I think that like God just started like coming back in like slow bits through different sermons that I started listening to on YouTube, different podcasts that I started hearing. I started to like listen to more worship music again. And I said like, and then I was just like, God, like, I'm ready to come home. Like, I'm tired. Like, of the party life is not it. Like, for me, like, I'm tired of it. Like, I don't want to I got so lost in that. Like, it was just like my identity at that point. And I was like, that's not who I want to be forever. Like, alcohol has done like a lot of damage in my life. Like, I hated alcohol. Like, I don't know why, at what point I wanted it to be my bestie, or like all I ever looked forward to was Friday, Saturday nights. Like, there has to be more than that, because I hate being cruda. Like, I just, like, there was so many so many little things that were just like pouring into my life. And like now I'm like, that was just God calling me and calling me and calling me, And so I think that I finally said, he finally made it. And like, I think my process has been really long because I was so hesitant, because I didn't want to go back, because I knew what going back meant, because I'm very like, if I'm going to do something, like, I'm going to do it with my heart and I'm going to do it right. And so I started being like, okay, well, like, I want to do this. I started picking and choosing, like, well, I'm not going to do this, but I'll do this, or, like, this is acceptable because this isn't that bad, like, versus that, like, it's just like my mind was playing games. And like, I think, like, I was like, I don't have to go to church. Like, I have YouTube. Like, it's good. And I feel God in my room. Like, we're good. And so I think God was just like really working in like a lot of different ways. And then like, I finally heard like a service that like, and I think I was like scared to let go of God, because I was like, what if like he doesn't bless my life? Like, I don't want to get sick. Like, I want to have fruits in my job. Like, I want to buy a house. Like, I want to do all these things. And I think initially I probably started seeking him for the wrong reasons again, because I wanted things and I wasn't getting them, and I was scared I wasn't going to get them. And like now I think like, and this was something I was trying to explain to my sister, like you seek God sometimes because you have so much need or you want things, but then it turns into something so genuine, because like it, like there's different types of relationships with God, right? And like, I think I was just you have a relationship. I felt like I was like grabbing God's hand for a while, and like he was just like guiding me, and I was like, okay, I need help. And he was like, okay. Now I was like, I need help. Now I need this. Now I need a car. Now I need a house. Now I need, and like it was like, give me God, because like now I'm praying and I'm trying to go to church. And then like I remember like I heard a service, and the pastor was like, we're so quick to like just seek the hand of God, but not his heart. like not a real relationship where you're walking next to him. Like, what are you giving? Like, you know, and I think that's when I like so many, like my blindfold was taken off. I was like, what am I giving?
Yeah.
And honestly, since then, like I feel like my life has just been like peace. Like it's just peace. Like I'm happy. I'm excited. Like there's still battles, like a lot of things that are coming in my life daily that I feel like I know are attacks, and but I just know who like my sustainer is, and like I'm straight chilling. Like I know he's got me, you know. I give him my best tithe at work, at church. I'm serving, like I'm trying to give him, and more than just ask, you know. And I think that once I like stopped asking, because I was like, I was like, God's like a genie. Like, God, quiero esto.
Yeah.
I want this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and he's not.
Yeah.
But with that comes a lot of sacrifice.
Oh,
you know?
for sure.
So I think, yeah, it's been beautiful to make a true relationship with him. And I know sometimes like it can be like, oh, it's a little too intense, or like, you don't have to do all that. Like, God loves you. And I understand like everybody's journey is different, but this is mine. And like, this is how conviction has hit me. And like, I'm not shy about it anymore. Like, I don't tell people I don't drink because of my fitness journey. No, it's because God doesn't let me drink, y'all. Like,
is that what you would say in the beginning?
I would just say things like, oh, like fitness girl era. Or
you're like, oh, I'm in my
that.
sober girl era, but they didn't know the reason behind it.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, and I think God convicted me a lot of like, why are you embarrassed? Like, why, you know? And I was like, I don't want to seem too religious. And he's like, well, what do you mean? Like, you know, it was just like back and forth all the time with my boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think until I was like, no, I don't care. Like, I want to be a Jesus freak. Like, I told like my cousin, I was like, girl, like, I want to be a Jesus freak. Like, I want to like be so close to God. Like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care if they think I'm cringy. I don't care like anything. Like, and the thing is, like, I had an issue a long time too, because I didn't want to come off as like I'm better or I'm judging or anything, you know? And I think Christians have that issue.
That rep.
That rep. But I talked to my mentor about it, and I was like, how can I spread the good news and the gospel without making people feel bad? Because I know I hated when people like would make me feel like lesser than, because like I knew I was living in sin and they were probably so perfect and holy, and I was like, oh my God, no. But it's not really like that. Like it's really just out of love. Like now I think of all the people that tried to like bring me back or give me good word, and like I would close them off because I'm like, ugh, like I can't handle it. I'm just so thankful for them, because they're the people that truly loved me. Yeah. And were praying for me. Or, you know, like my auntie that was like, let me pray for you. Like, I want you to find God again. Like, you know, I want you to be close to him. Like, you need him. And I'm like,
oh my God.
I'm like, mal no estoy. Like, you know, like, it's kind of
You're like, I'm doing fine. What do you mean?
So I think like, you know, it's
a journey.
It's a journey.
And like you said, it's so different for everybody. And it looks so different for everybody. Exactly. Like everyone's journey is not going to look the same. Like some people find Christ through because they, you know, they were like deep in drugs, deep in alcohol, deep in, you know, and some people find Jesus because they're just like, I feel a void. Like I need something to fill it. And again, like there's just so many different reasons why people turn to Christ. And I just feel like in this time of age, it's like we shouldn't be ashamed to be talking about it, and we shouldn't be embarrassed to share like what we've gone through and what we have experienced and our testimony, because it's truly our testimony that people hear and they're just like, they're either going to take it as like you're trying to shove it down my throat, or it's a word that God is speaking through them.
Yeah, I know. And I think in like a culture of like, no one wants to gatekeep, right? Like you're a jerky gatekeep, like gotta show you where you get your creams at, your clothes at and stuff. And I'm like, why y'all want me to gatekeep the best news ever? Yeah. The only news, that like eternal life, like that's not gonna be me.
Yeah. But then people see you and then they're like, wow, like she really has changed, you know, like she looks so happy all the time, like there's this glow on her and everything, like so she's always like smiling and everything, and you're like,
it's Jesus,
it's from my homeboy above. You know.
Yeah.
But people see that, like people see that. And like I just want to make it clear too though, that just like want to put it out there that it's like you're not ever gonna be perfect in this journey. And there's gonna be times that people will be like, pues no que bien santita y no que like, you know, but it's just like, we're human. Like, we're going to mess up millions of times. But that's the grace of God, that he continues to forgive us and gives us like that, his hand, and like guides us.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I'm just so thankful for him. And I think like he's giving me a lot of clarity, like with my future, and like just like a lot of like burdens that I've been worried about. Like those don't really like, they're not there like they used to be anymore. I think about them, but I'm like, I know where I rest, and like I'm not worried about it. Like I used to be super high stress for everything. Like I had to nitpick, like draw out my life month to month. Like it was just so much, you know. And I'm like, I'll know when I know. Like now it's just like so much.
You were the planner. You were like, this day, this day, this day. Yeah.
And I think it's hard because like, it's almost like I got a sense of who I was, and when I finished college, and I was like, this is who I am. Like, okay, like I feel like I have my vibe. I know what I want. And it was like, God said, psych. And like, it was all thrown away. And I was like, are you sure? Like, I don't know. And so, but that's like a full surrender, girl. Like literally, I was talking to my cousin who's also been like a really big person that's really helping my faith grow, and because we just connect on a lot of different ways. I was just talking to her about certain things, and like I was like, I don't want to give up doing this, and I don't want to give up doing that, and I don't want to, you know. And I think that's also important to find people that grow your faith, because she was like, I'm going through it too, but we can do it together. And like, you know, and it's not all because it's all to honor God, honestly. I'm like, may anything and everything I say today, like, just honor God. May every person I encounter, like, you know, I be in the grocery store, I just like, girl, chill, because I'm like, Jesus, bless this beautiful family in front of me in the grocery store, like, they are beautiful, and they need to know your word, like, you know. So and I think sometimes it can feel like overwhelming, because I've had aunties and stuff that I felt like sometimes are overwhelming. So like, trust me, I get it, like, this is new to me too, like, but it's like, I feel, you're like, it's not me,
like, it's just like, it has to come out, like, I can't hold it in.
So, but
that's what you're like, should I go for it?
Should I go? It's just consuming me. It's a process. I'm learning every day. Like, just when I was like, okay, I feel like, just when I think God doesn't want to do more in me, like, he's doing more in me. Like, he's teaching me new things, you know?
Yeah.
And so,
I know. I remember when we had connected, like, I want to say like it was like last year or something, and you were talking to me about how you have been like really, really, like, you basically allowed God back into your life, and just like the way that you were talking about him, and the way that like the Holy Spirit was just like consuming you, and it just like, it like touched me, because I know that during that time, like, I felt kind of far from God, and like I felt like you were definitely like a stewardship there, like like reminding me of like, this is the feeling that you miss, you know, and that void that you had been missing, like, this is it, you know. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so happy that my best friend is like feeling just like at peace, because I know that at a point, like, you felt very overwhelmed with your life. You felt like you had to control everything, and how to make decisions, and how to take care of everybody else. And like, now, like, I talk to you and I like see you, and you're just like, like, we'll see what tomorrow brings. Bien, like, I promise she's never high. Like, that's just her. Like, you know
I never seen weed. Girl, because I had gotten like really spiritual, like, and like, it was like weird. I was doing like, I don't know, like I have you ever heard of an ayahuasca? No? It's like this crazy retreat that like a homegirl told me about. And I was like, she was going to take me to like Chiapas in Mexico to do one, not going to lie, because it sounded really cool. She said, like, you go and like you take this medicine, some plant that only grows in certain parts of the world.
Oh my God, yes. Wait, I think Megan Fox was talking about that one time in one of her
Oh my
interviews.
gosh, Megan Fox would most definitely do one. I'm not surprised.
I think she was talking about that.
Okay, that's so funny. Yeah, that's probably what it is. So, and then but she was like, oh, like I just connected with like God a lot. Like, I got healed from so many things there. And she made it sound really God oriented. And I was like, maybe that's what I need. Like I was trying to find ways. I was like, I need to get close to God. Like I was like trying to find,
Yeah.
And then like come to find out like ayahuasca's like a lot of sketchy things happen there, bro. But I was so open and down to do whatever all the time that I was like, let me know next time you go. And girl, I would go.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then like el tercer ojo, I started like learning about it. It could like, some people were saying like, oh, since ever I came back, or some people were like, some sketchy stuff's been going on in my house. So I was just like, imagine like I was just like looking in all the wrong places.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh, T.
or just like, or like even like shrooms. Sometimes like people tell me like, oh, like I had a crazy trip and my life's not the same. Like all these things, like I see things different, blah, blah, blah. And so, and I just think it's wild because I'm like, it's wild how I can just experience that by closing my eyes and raising my hands and giving God direct access into my heart. Mm-hmm. And like, I literally feel like I'm just like, I don't know. I don't want to get too weird about it, but like I'm having visions and like God just speaks to me and like I'll break down because like it's so beautiful, like, and I'm like, I didn't even know ayahuasca. I didn't even know drugs.
Or you're driving like in the middle of the road and all of a sudden you're like or in the grocery store and you're like quieres llorar because you just like felt like God's presence in the middle of the grocery store and everything.
No,
I mean, some people might think it's like super religious and like very like Jesus freak and everything, but it's like you don't know until you allow God to do it.
Yeah.
So
it's full surrender, really.
Yeah.
It takes
Are we gonna be the new like Girls Gone Bible?
Girls Gone Bible don't stand a chance. Like, my number one most heard. No.
Ladies, if you're watching this and you want to come on, we have an episode with the Girls Gone Bible.
Hey, Girls Gone Bible, if you're watching this, we love you guys. And we would love to get the opportunity to connect.
Shout out.
Yeah. No, I think there's like a really cool, I don't know, dude. Maybe it's because I'm on Christian TikTok, but I feel like there's a powerful like wave of like people just really wanting to seek God, and I'm just praying on it, that people come to Dad.
Yeah, I think also like, and it also depends on like your journey and everything, but like when you see things in like a spiritual way, it just like hits you different, and you just see things in a very different way than other people. But you can definitely, for instance, like there's like that spiritual warfare that is around us like every day. Yeah. And like that's why it is important to pray every single day. That's why it is important to read your Bible. That's why it's important to have that like guidance from God, because there's just like things around us that we're not even like, that the flesh cannot see, but your spirit can. Yeah. So like I like on I am on Christian TikTok as well. But like when people like just get that sense of like there's just something happening, like there's not like, there most definitely is something happening. Like you think like these world things that are happening, like the earthquake and like all these just like weird that people are like, oh my God. Like like we never know when God's timing is coming or anything like that, but it's like there's things happening for a reason in the spiritual realm, for sure.
For sure, dude. Eso es otra cosa que I'm just like, there's no time.
Give your life to Jesus.
Hey, no. And I think I love people. And, like anybody I encounter, I talk to when they're telling me their goals and their plans. And I'm like, God, have them like have an encounter with you. Yeah. And it's only because we know cómo se siente, like we know how God can transform. And as cringy as it sounds, as religious or whatever, like I don't care, I'm a Jesus freak.
Well, Miss T, thank you so much for joining us on today's episode on Sincerely B. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I sure did. I always love having my bestie around. You're too far.
Thank you for having me and allowing me this space to share. I hope it's helpful to whoever hears, and I'm excited to continue to hear the rest of your podcasts that you do. You have really wonderful insight, and I feel like for the longest time I could just have you to myself, and now I got to share your knowledge with the world. But I'm so excited for what you're going to continue doing.
Oh,
so,
thanks, T.
Yeah.
Love you.
Thanks, y'all, for listening and tuning in.
Yes, thank you guys. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. You can listen on Apple Podcast and on Spotify. Love you all. Sincerely,
Bye.